How's it, everybody, and a warm welcome to the NFT show. My name is Philip Kalinko. I am your host, and tonight we're going to be looking at NFT projects that are coming up that have good potential or just interesting. Before we do, let's see what's happening in the markets, on OpenSea, general crypto markets, and any good news. So if we have a look here, yesterday's trading volume was absolutely dismal, 33 million US dollars on OpenSea. To put that in perspective, that is the lowest since September last year. So if anyone wasn't sure whether we were in a bear market, that's your answer. Hopefully it will find some support and go back to our 50 or 60, which is our usual lows. Today's number is not reloading. You can have a look at this exclamation mark over here. I've tried to refresh a few times, so I'll only be able to see that tomorrow. But yeah, yesterday was really not good. 33 million, and it's usually on the weekends, a bit busier. So going to be an interesting week. If we have a look on the crypto side, things not looking too terrible. Definitely not good, but not too terrible. ETH seems to be holding around the $2,000 mark. Bitcoin holding around the $30,000 mark. Watching this quite carefully. Solana doing nicely. Most others in the red at the moment. Hopefully we can find some support here, but yeah, it remains to be seen. So definitely a volatile time. We have had the Fed coming out saying that they're going to be regulating crypto. Short term, that's not very good for NFTs. Long term, that is. It's good for the market long term, but there will be a bit of a dip when that officially happens. If we jump onto OpenSea and have a look at the last 24 hours, we see our friends on Solana, OK Bears, doing incredibly well. Floor price of 240 Solana. Yesterday they were at 170 Solana. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people talking about Solana NFTs. I do think it's something worth looking into. With that said, I do think it's important to realize that just like Ethereum, Solana is risky. And I imagine the same principles apply. On Wednesday's show, I'm going to be doing a full review on OK Bears. And it will be my first Solana project. So looking forward to that and, finding out a little bit more about the Solana ecosystem as well. So they are, in the last 24 hours, the biggest volume traded on OpenSea, which is incredible. Next up is Crypto Punx. Then we've got a Reptilian Renegade, also a Solana project as far as volume traded. We've got the other deeds sitting at just under 3 Ethereum. Genesis, which we're going to cover on Wednesday's show also, sitting at 0.74. PXN Ghost Division, which I think we're also covering on Wednesday, sitting at 2.3. They've recently revealed there was a bit of FUD, but they seem to handle it quite well. So it's going to be interesting to see where this one goes. Got Degen Tunes looking really strong. Went as high as 2.2 ETH today. There was an airdrop that happened. It's retracted a bit, but they've held really well in bearish conditions throughout and have grown throughout consistently. So definitely very interesting. And they must be doing a hang of a lot right. Going to look more into this one as well. Bored Ape Yacht Club holding just over 100, which is really quite good. Clone X, I'm really surprised. 13 Ethereum is a great deal for a Clone X in my opinion. Yeah, interesting. Mutant Ape Yacht Club at 20, which is also not too bad. And we've got another Solana project, Junkies at 5.9 Solana. We've got CPG Pop at 2 Ethereum. Their mint price was 3 Ethereum. Would have been very interesting to see if they had minted in a bull market, because this is sort of like they're trying to do a sort of proof collective with Kevin Rose, but the founders of this project are very notable in the Web3 space and very capable. So look, the mint price was way too high in my opinion, but in the end of the day, this is one to watch for sure. We've got Azuki, which is found, it's placed at about 13.5, went all the way down to 9 with all the issues that they had, then all the way back up to 16 or 17, if I'm not mistaken. Tarkin, You've been saying Degen tunes for the last month. Incredible, man. Incredible. Nice to have you. So yeah, Zuki went all the way back up to 16 after all the rubbish, and now they're sitting about 13.5. Still too risky for my blood. Time will tell what happens here. I'm not saying what will happen. I don't know. Not OK Bears, obviously a derivative of OK Bears. Must be honest, it's nice. It's refreshing to see a derivative. We haven't seen them on this list for a long time. Usually a bullish indicator when people are spending money on derivatives. Obviously, some people thought they will think they can make money off this. Not a long-term hold, obviously. But yeah, nice to see again that our degens are finding their way. And art blocks, as we said last week, doing really, really well. Another interesting thing to look at, flips.finance. Just try and make this a little bit bigger for you. But I want to try and give you an idea of the last 24 hours that we've actually got a decent amount of green. Obviously, green means it's up from the day before. So yeah, I mean, as it stands now, NFTs have definitely spared some of the bearish crypto markets, macroeconomics going on. I don't want to speak too soon, but so far we've got some diamond handlers keeping up the floor prices on some big collections. If we look at 24-hour volume, the highest volume in the last 24 hours has been Other Deed. Then we've got Project PXN. Then we've got Degen Tunes, incredible. Bored Ape Yacht Club under Degen Tunes, Clone X, Mutant Ape Yacht Club, and so on. So just interesting to get a bird's eye view on the market. Like, just look how much green versus how much red, and it's actually not too bad. When you couple that with the volume that we saw on OpenSea yesterday, it's actually quite incredible that it's not more red because there's barely any volume. So it's not like there's huge trades going on, which is very, very interesting. It means that people that are holders are holding, which is good. In the end of the day, what goes up must come down and back up and back down again. I do think that the market was needing a reset, but it's good to see that these blue chips are holding up so nicely. So that's a really positive thing for the space in general. But yeah, we're definitely not out of the woods yet. Excuse the bear pun there. All right, so some news just very briefly before we jump into some interesting projects. We've got Emirates Airline introducing Bitcoin as payments and some NFTs, which is really, really quite cool. When you've got big companies coming in, we've got this went under the radar. I didn't see many people talking about this, but this is quite a big bullish story. Microsoft dives into Web3 with investments in Ethereum co-founder startup Consensus. And they Consensus raised $450 million, which is the same as what Yuga Labs raised, backed by Microsoft, SoftBank, and Temasek, which is incredible and makes them valued at about $7 billion, and is very, very positive for the space in general. To see so much investment coming in at this particular time, specifically into an Ethereum backed company is really, really cool. So that's really good to see. ApeCoin did a proposal that was shot down for their own marketplace. Included in their proposal was also quite high salaries, according to this article. It says wildly overvalued, but it was voted down, and it's going to be interesting to see what Yuga Labs decides to do. I'm pretty sure the fact that they're a DAO and it was voted down means they won't be going ahead, but still interesting to watch nonetheless. Then we've got Invisible Friends, who have been very invisible recently, very quiet in the space. They've partnered with Keith Clothing, and they've got a whole line coming out, and their Invisible Friends are going to be the runway models for this new clothing collection. So really nice to see, Web3 and Web2 coming together, and very, very cool, very interesting. So yeah, stuff's still happening. NFTs in the news, and that's really what we want to see. All right, so I've got a mixture of projects for you today, upcoming projects, some very early, some with pitch decks like you've never seen that we're going to dive in really deep at the end. So stick with me, and some just interesting ones. So I thought I'd bring them to you. The first one I want to talk about is Picture Day by NIKYBOTS. Just come back up to the top here. So if you have a look over here, Picture Day, I'm just looking at the comments here. Carlos saying minted today 0.2. Must have been one of the projects we were looking at. Picture Day by NIKYBOTS. All right, so it's an NFT collection crafted in the iconic and imitable style of the renowned street artist NIKYBOTS. This is very, very early. You can see they've only got 3,700 followers. The reason I wanted to bring it to you is because they're doing a lot of whitelist giveaways on Twitter. So definitely give them a follow. And, you know, you could get in early. So that's the good side about bringing new projects early. The bad side is that there's not much information on this, and it remains to be seen how hyped it's going to get and how well it's going to do. It's followed by some very notable guys as well. So we've got Threadguy from Jenkins, the Valet, which is a great project. We've got Aidan Cullen, who's the founder of Hearts Project. And yeah, I mean, it's from NIKYBOTS. He's a renowned street artist. Yeah, you can see just his website. This is just his style. This isn't the NFT website. It's just his website. And if you have a look here, you can see he's done some merch. For copyright reasons, I don't want to play this, and without sound, it's pointless. And you can see here some of the stuff that he's done. So some of the murals on walls, some branding on buildings, and just the fact that he's a street artist with a unique style. If we jump onto his Instagram, don't know why it says that there, guys. Let's try. See if it works. No, I thought so. Okay. So that's there. Then if we just go here, we've on their Twitter, I was able to find a roadmap. So this is quite interesting. I think it's got more detail here on this. Yeah. So I'll go into this in more details, but the personality test, where basically you'll do a test in inverted commas once you've minted, and that test will determine the rarity of your NFT. But they're saying that there's not really going to be rarity, but based on how you answer this will affect your look and feel of your NFT. We'll look into that in more detail. Then there's going to be a staking rolled out. Then you've got your P2E game, and I'll show you on their Twitter a bit of that, where you have a chance to win their native token called bots, which can be used in their ecosystem to buy merch, exclusive content, and much more. Then they're going to have gamified learning. So students will be rewarded by completing game-based tutorials on Web3 fundamentals, which I think is quite cool. Back to school events. So Picture Day will be hosting several back to school themed events featuring the biggest names in Web3 and entertainment. And then a virtual campus, token gated 3D campus that holders can explore at will. So I do like the fact that it's education themed. And that they will be, you know, teaching in general about Web3 and things like that. I do think that's cool. It's something that I haven't seen before. Just want to talk about this personality test, if you have a look over here. So this is, remember, when they're saying there's no rarity, but the way you answer this test is how it's going to affect what your NFT looks like. So I want to show you here what they're saying. They say, today the NFT community requires that projects prioritize transparency and accountability. We support and stand by that requirement and wish to share what we've been working on and what we intend to deliver. We are hoping for a slightly different rarity scoring process. We don't want to risk revealing sensitive information that could offer anyone an unfair advantage come mint day. Therefore, we've made efforts to provide our community with the over-the-shoulder view of how the pre-mint personality test works, what it hopes to achieve, and why we believe this simple implementation fits into the bigger picture. First, let's clear up the definition. New holders aren't able to fill anything out until they mint. We realize the term pre-mint might be slightly misleading. After minting, holders will be able to select which NFT they'd like to complete a test for. That's assuming you mint more than one NFT. After filling out a questionnaire, the selected token is mapped to its test results and the pair is stored away for picture day reveal. So basically the way you answering this test is going to affect what your NFT looks like. No pre-assigned rarities. And yeah, the bigger picture is that just like your online identity on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, is based on you and your personality, why shouldn't an NFT be based on your answer to the test, which will tell them more about you and your personality? So I like that. You know, again, it's a lot of stuff we haven't seen before. We tend to see all of the same type of things, and it's just nice. It's nice to have a project doing something different. Again, really, really early, so who knows where it's going to go, but it's still an interesting one for me. Here you can see a little bit of the gameplay. This is just racing down the corridor as one of the games, but I've seen a few different ones that they have here, which is really, really quite interesting. Also looks like they might have a sort of comic book in their future. I'm just expounding from what I'm seeing on Twitter. Maybe, may not be. And here you can see just, oh, all right, that's going to get, so we'll play it without there, but you can see a bit of a promo video. So I don't know, I think it's a really cool vibe, education orientated. They're doing different things with their rarities, and they can really do so much with this. I mean, there's so many different activities and games they can have here. So you can see, I mean, that's the extent of what's been on Twitter. Their first post was the 12th of April. So, I mean, literally what we've scrolled through now is all that is available. So you can see it really is quite early, but yeah, definitely one that I wanted to put on your radar. The next one is even earlier, guys, and even less information. Okay, but I'll tell you that, so it's Rokoyo, joined April 2022. They say that they're going to be minting in spring 2022, 16,500 followers, very little information. However, we do have in our Discord a bot that picks up early potential good projects, and that's where I found this, a bot that's free to use for anyone that comes into our Discord. So yeah, I mean, the bot picked it up. So I came on here. There's no website, there's no Discord at this stage, but you can see a lot of whitelist giveaways on Twitter also, and you can get an idea of the type of art that we're looking at. Here's a better picture of the art. So look, the art to me looks interesting, and you know, anime is still in at the moment, even though I'm getting a bit sick of it in general, but this is definitely a different take on it for sure. I mean, it's like a robot, not even seeing the guys' faces, so they are doing something different. And yeah, that's the beginning of their Twitter. So again, you can see very little information, but I do think worth just having follow on with noties on, and worth keeping an eye on this because it was picked up as one that could potentially do well. Next one that we have is pretty hyped already, Moonlanders. Their first tweet was also April, which is incredible, and you can see that they really have taken off. Almost 80,000 followers, a lot of notable followers over here that I can see. The art looks to me nice, looks sort of Karafura-y, so a bit like Karafura to me, which has done well. Obviously, they're doing their own style of it. To show you a bit more of the art in the meantime here. See, this one's called Little Panda. I mean, it's definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting as far as the art goes. Definitely looks like they've got a lure there as well. If we jump into the Discord over here, it's going to be quicker if I just click it than trying to. I'm already in there, but it will just take me straight there instead of having to. All right, so if we have a look here, we can see it's a collection size of 7890, 7,890. You can see here they've got 25,000 in their Discord. If we have a look here, I wanted to go to FAQ. So if we go to the top over here, you can see here it says meet the team. Founders are Johnny Cosmos and Cryptix. They're both art lovers who went from JPEG degen collectors to creators. They decided to start creating Moonlanders to put everything that they loved about NFTs into one single space, both navigating the ship and taking care of every single aspect of what is happening within the project, striving to build the best community and deliver the best possible art while also having fun on the journey. Then it lists everyone else, the community manager, the artist, the dev, advisor, collab manager, the mods. Moonlanders, it just says a collection of art lovers and NFT enthusiasts coming together to achieve Tony Smoothie's dream of go to the moon. Who's Tony Smoothie? He's a protagonist of the Moonlanders. He's a fictional character that was created long before Moonlanders started. Read more about him over here. We'll jump into there and have a look. How do we get whitelist? Stay active and engaged. There's contests that you'll also have, and just be yourself, creative, and take part in the community. Our vision, they want to be a dynamic brand that goes beyond the NFT world. The main focus of the team orbits around providing the best possible art to the community. And then if we come here to their flight plan, which is like their basic roadmap, if you want to call it that, but it is quite basic. So phase 1, enjoy a virtual market and shop effortlessly on the spaceship, to be announced soon. Moonlanders creates an avenue for buying physical goods. Some of them will be exclusively available to holders. Number 2, panel 2 is dress code, Tony Smoothie. We're going to look at that now. And panel 3, we will announce what this corresponds to in the coming days. Meanwhile, you can brainstorm with the rest of the Moonlanders team. So then it comes to tell us about panel 3. So a community-based comic writing experience, creating one-of-a-kind comic book. Every Moonlander holder from the community will be involved and able to participate. This will be a collaborative experience. Yeah, so it seems like, again, really early, even though it has blown up. So I would want to see more info as far as their long-term plans. The marketplace is interesting to me because it says some of which will be purchased for holders only, which means maybe they want to make a marketplace for the real world, you know, Web 2, and then just integrate it, which is quite interesting. If we go to Tony Smoothie that they keep talking about, here he is. You can see a picture of him. Is obviously making their lure or their story, which we find in quite a lot now on projects. Like Threadguy has really done a great lure or great story to captivate holders. So this is saying Tony is a degen that was hearing the expression to the moon so much that he's convinced there was something more to it than just a catchphrase. He became obsessed about going to the moon in order to check it out for himself. He decided to call a couple of friends from all corners of the galaxy to join him in his mission. Tony Smoothie is a representation of the team's personality, value, and dreams. He's a degenerate that acts sometimes on impulse to follow his dream, but most of all cares about his friends and people around him. We think that each and every one of us is a part of Tony in us. So yeah, guys, I mean, it gives you a bit of an idea of what they're trying to build over here. And you can see at this point, no website, just Twitter and Instagram. But yeah, Twitter engagement is good and following is really, really good. So definitely one I want to put on your radar. The next one we have is just a fun one. You know, I'm a Mr Bean fan, and I've got kids who are Mr Bean fans. So yeah, I think this one is quite interesting. So it's a project by Mr Bean. It's going to be 3,333 unique NFTs, and all going to be purchasable through FOMO Lab's website, which is the company doing it for them. I'll show you now. Here you see just his normal website, so not just the NFT. So this one's interesting to me because I imagine that there must be some pull for non-NFT people to get into this. So let's say you're a big Mr. Bean fan and you collect all Mr. Bean related merch, and you hear that an NFT is coming out, you might find that we get a bit of an influx of people that haven't yet been exposed to NFTs. And what's interesting is they're launching it on FOMO Lab's marketplace and not on any other platform. So they're doing it their own way. And here you can see an article by Yahoo Finance dated the 9th of May. FOMO Lab, the front-running intellectual property specialist, metaverse architects, and leaders in Web3 have announced the Genesis Mr Bean Collection in collaboration with Banija, the largest independent content producer and distributor. There will be 3,333 unique Mr Bean NFT collectibles. They'll be available via FOMO Lab's marketplace. The avenue from 25th of May. So, yeah, that's soon. That's in about a week and a bit's time. By purchasing the collectible, holders will also have access to phygital rewards, competitions, and redeemables, including signed and unpublished hand-drawn stills of Mr Bean from the first animated series. Further, Mr Bean's NFT drops with FOMO Labs are planned throughout 2022. So this is the first drop. There's going to be more of them, and it's going to give you claim to one-of-one physical items. So that's what really makes me think that it could bring in people to the space that weren't in the space before, which is always nice to see. So yeah, definitely interesting one. Then this one for me is incredible. I'll tell you, like, point blank incredible. I've reviewed maybe 600 projects, and I have seen maybe 100 white papers, and I have never ever seen a white paper as well put together and detailed and thought out as this one. This is not a paid shill, even though it sounds like it. I've had no contact with the team, but yeah, guys, this is really great. So I'm going to take you through this white paper in quite a lot of detail, because there's quite a lot of interesting elements here. Yeah, I just want to show you the extent to which this has been thought out, and the way that they've done this, because this is really what every single white paper should look like. And this is not just an NFT project to me, but seems like a company's presentation, the way it should be. So we've got Zenogakki here, Zenogakki, the first decentralized anime franchise. So it says here, there's a bit of a lure. A deadly virus was released into Utopia by an unknown entity, a virus that was powerful enough to eradicate humanity. However, there are small traces of humanity left within Utopia, and these remaining humans have taken upon themselves to be responsible for seeking retribution. Artificial intelligence has taken over Utopia. This was the birth of a new cyber species, the ZENlist, that was created by an all-powerful and merciless owl. His name was Garth, the cyber ruler. So vision, and this is really where it starts, right? So they're saying here that it's a revolution within the industry, and this is the basis for the whole thing. They feel that animators and creatives worldwide are not credited enough when anime series are made. They get paid minimal salaries, and producers make millions, and they aim to address this, and they've got a real plan to do so, right? So their long-term vision is to create a structure where the community and creatives benefit from the success of a franchise for as long as it lives. This plans to include, but isn't limited to, watch-to-earn mechanism, which we'll read more about later, for the community. Zenogakki is a function as a core in the decentralized anime media space by creating and innovating their own platform, granting IP rights to holders, and will expand and scale their franchise to ultimately become an anchor for similar projects and move forward while taking the right steps. Okay, so I want to show you what's going on here. So the first thing is that they want to organically develop and nurture a community-centric alpha server. And the thing that stood out for me now is they said, we want the server to act as home to anyone, regardless of whether you own anything related to our franchise or not. So we just want people to come in, we want them to learn, we want them to be welcomed into our community. So that's really nice. Then they're going to have a Genesis NFT collection, which has taken over 6 months for them to get together, consisting of over 200 traits. And they say here, we want every NFT that is being bought to feel special to whoever owns it. This is why we focused on the details as much as possible in order to attain the highest form of artistry. Then there's going to be a soundtrack. So they've created a list of favorite up-and-coming producers and musical artists to design the perfect Zenogakki themed soundtrack in-house. I can't tell you how many times I play like any music from an upcoming NFT project, thinking that they've done it themselves, And when it comes to the YouTube algorithm, it ends up saying copyright. It's actually a song that's owned by like Kanye West or whatever. Speaking of the YouTube algorithm, if you're enjoying the show, please can you click the like button? Okay, so there's a lot more to this, guys. So Retribution versus Abomination. So with an entire storyline from Zenogakki and the manga development underway, we'd love for people to emulsify themselves within the story. In every favorite anime, there are always sides to pick, and you'll choose either evil or virtuous. World-class studios. So they've partnered with Toad Plus Animation Studios and L'Oreal Pursuit, and I'll show you more about them in this pitch deck later. But they're very notable studios. And here they've said they sent over 280 inquiries before settling on these two animation studios. So they really have done a lot of groundwork on every level. Manga preview, and there is one already which we'll have a look at. Volume 1 of the manga is a pre-production phase with the L'Oreal Pursuit Studios. They're working extra hard to make sure that our family gets more than one chapter before mint. There'll be further partner announcements going forward. Okay, so then there's also for NFTs that have the Dijin trait. I hope I'm saying that right. Those particular NFTs only are going to be evolution NFTs. So they'll change and be able to evolve, which will be limited to just those with the Dijin trait. Okay, then any of the first edition NFTs. So anyone who owns any Genesis NFT will get airdropped the volume 1 of the manga as a free mint. Okay, then they'll also get an anime pass NFT as well. Following a similar structure of the manga collectible, Genesis holders will be able to freely mint NFTs that will enable profit sharing with the holder of the said NFT from the anime series, right? And then they just summarize all of that. Okay, so then when they get to phase 2, they're going to have an anime trailer. But remember, this isn't just one anime that they're doing. They're going to be consistently developing. They want to become a launch pad for content creators in this space to be able to launch their anime series through this production company and this company. And then the community will be paid to watch it. So they'll earn by watching it, but they also want to make sure that it's free to watch for anyone else who doesn't have the NFT also. Behind the scenes, inspiring filmmakers within the community rejoice will be taking the community on an exclusive behind the scenes ride from conceptualization to realization. And you'll also get access to pre-release updates. Okay, so the official release of anime series, the moment we've been waiting for. So they say here about the metaverse that they will not be at this stage building their own metaverse. Everyone's building their own. They'll, incorporate themselves into the appropriate metaverse for their franchise. So they're not going to be creating their own metaverse, but they want to be in the metaverse. There's also going to be physical collectibles and merch launched worldwide. Their core team, fully doxed. As you scroll down, it gives you a background on each of them, as well as their Twitter and LinkedIn pages. And it goes through each and every single one of them, their backgrounds, and their links. Which is, listen, this is the way it should be, honestly. So there's the core team, then the DevOps, exactly the same thing, and the advisors. It takes you through each and every single one of them with their social links and their background. So you guys can look at this on your own. I'm not going to bore you with reading all of it, but I have checked some of the links, all legitimate, really, really impressive. You can see, a massive, massive, massive team. This is all the team. Okay. Then when you look at the anime partnership ecosystem, so this is the Toad Plus Animation Studios and the L'Oreal Pursuit Studios that we discussed, and it gives their credentials, and they really, like this Toad Plus. They did a Final Fantasy, I think that's 7 remake, Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, whatever number that is, Pokemon. So really have a lot under their belt. And L'Oreal Pursuit, they're an ambitious indie production studio that was founded during the pandemic, so a newer studio. Their team of artists, musicians, writers, directors, coders, and animators come from all over the world, and they're good at digital storytelling. So you can have a look there. And then they also have a strategic partnership with DAO Maker. Now, these guys are absolutely massive. I mean, you can just have a look at their portfolio over here, this DAO Maker. And they've got, yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, this speaks for itself, right? This is all under them. Transact, Wire, Polygon, Solana, MoonPay. It's all under their umbrella, which is incredible. Vision to reality. So the launch of the platform, the watch to earn that we briefly spoke about. Phase 4 will be dependent on the success of previous phases. The reason being that we do not want to promise and not be able to deliver. But yeah, the watch to earn is interesting to me because you get to watch and earn, which is great. And if the content is good, which with this team and with these partnerships it should be, then you're going to enjoy watching it. But on the other side of it, they're getting views for being watched, which they can in turn earn ad revenue on. And all the actors and all the producers and all the creators are going to be paid in the same native token that people who watch it are going to be paid in. And as long as you have the NFT, you'll be paid to watch in that same token. And then there's a separate site for people who don't have it, where they can watch these for free. So anyone will be able to watch the content, again, ensuring that they get a lot of views, a good ad revenue, and provide a sort of springboard to anime creators in the space with all the skills that they need to develop anime series and be fairly compensated for them. And it goes on and on, guys. And it really, to me, is incredible. Really, it's so well thought out. It's a new thing that we haven't seen before. We're always saying that NFT technology fits in with art-related things and music, and because you can program into the smart contract that every time a music song is played, that 5% royalties go there, 20% royalties go there. So here they're doing this with anime series. And NFTs are the perfect technology for it because it's all tracked from the smart contract and ensured that it's above board from the smart contract side. So yeah, I mean, this carries on and on, but it's just really, really well thought out and incredible to me. It's good to see. So yeah, that kept me busy for a while, but was great to see. And here you can see some of them manga that they've put out. Let's just try reload it over here. It's like a comic book style storyline. Okay, no thank you, ad. All right, now you can just see the art style. There's the cover. People are coming and releasing comic books or whatever, 3 months after they mint. Yeah, these guys haven't minted yet and they've already got something to show for it. We'll jump into their Discord also. I just want to show you here. So join December 2021, location Utopia, which I think is quite cool because that's what they're calling it. 34,000 followers, a couple of notable ones over here. If we jump into their Discord quickly, just show you over here. So you can see here, not a huge amount of people in the Discord, 6,500. They recently opened the Discord, a lot more recent than their Twitter. But yeah, definitely if this is something that interests you and you want to learn more, I would suggest jumping in here. But yeah, for me, so really, as I say, well put together, well thought out, and something that is really an absolute pleasure to review because you've got all the details and all the information at your disposal. So again, project Zenogakki, and in my opinion, humble opinion, not financial advice, this is one to really, really keep an eye on and one to watch. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the 5 projects. Just want to see what we've got here. Carlos, 1 vFriend, hit 1 vFriend version 2 before vConference. Yeah, I would anyway get a vFriend series 2. Or you could even get a book game if you want a cheaper entry, because VFN Series 2 is about, what, 0.6 at the moment. You could pick up a book game NFT, a Gary V book game, for about 0.1 or 0.2. And then if you go into the Gary V conference, which sounds like you are to VCon, you'll always be a holder. I hold book games, and that could hold you in good stead. So I think Series 2, it's a big collection size, but it's Gary V, but it's a long-term play. I do think that, he'll deliver value over years. It's not going to be one of those that goes to 10 Ethereum overnight. Book games is probably the cheapest it's been in a long time. Also in the Gary V ecosystem, there's also a lot of them. So if you want to just have one of these NFTs, when you go to VCon, I would suggest a book games. But as I said, I'd get a VFriend Series 2 anyway. I bought one at about 0.65 just to have, because I do believe in Gary V hugely, for sure. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. If you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe. I'm going to see you Wednesday. We're going to go through all at the same time. We're going to go through all the big projects that have already launched that we saw in the charts when we started off. Go through them, have a look at them, see what they're going on with. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time. I'll see you then. Cheers, guys.